Hey everybody, and welcome to the next edition of the Soccer Fitness Goals video blog. It's St. Patrick's Day today, and I'm wearing my green shirt, which was given to me by a member of the German Football Federation, the DFB, who was an instructor for the FIFA 11 Trainers Certification course that I took last October. So I don't know if you're watching, but if you are, thank you very much, Matthias. The shirt looks fantastic. So with that out of the way, the topic of the blog for this week is something which I have probably discussed with hundreds, if not thousands, of soccer players, parents, and even some coaches, and that is the decision of whether or whether not to accept an athletic scholarship to play soccer at a U.S. university. So I should start by saying that I've got a lot of unique and relevant experience to discuss this topic. I briefly played university soccer in the States, and I also played five full years of university soccer in Canada. I've worked as an assistant coach and a fitness coach with several different university teams in Canada. I've done coach licenses in Canada and the States, and specifically in the States where I worked with and met a lot of different college coaches. And of course, because of the work that I do in my business here at Soccer Fitness and also previously with the national teams, been connected to and worked with a lot of players who have gone the route of taking a scholarship to the United States, including some players who have gone to some of the biggest Division I schools in that country. So I do have a lot of unique experience and relevant experience and knowledge in the areas. Um, what I would say, and this is basically the advice that I give to all of the players and their parents that ask me, is that the first thing that you need to do is you need to be very realistic about your future and about what you're going to do for your career. And what I mean by that is when you're deciding about where you want to go to school and what you want to study, being realistic means that no matter how talented or how good of a soccer player you are, the chances that you're going to make a living at all playing the sport in a professional environment are very, very small. The chances that you're going to make a good living are even smaller, and the chances that you're going to be able to make a living until you retire are zero, because no matter what, no matter how fit you are, you're going to have to retire from playing or being a professional player between the age of 35 and 40. So that being said, if that's sort of your foundation and the base of your decision, the idea that, again, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to make a good living playing the sport, then the number one most important factor for the decision that you make in terms of where you go to school and what you study has to be the quality of the education. The soccer team and the level of soccer that you're going to play at should be the second most important decision after the education, which is the first most important decision. So for Canadian soccer players and their parents who are around the age at which they're trying to make a decision about where they want to go to school, I think keeping that fact in mind, that fact that you're probably not going to be making a living playing soccer, and so your education has to be your number one priority, will probably lead you to be more likely to want to attend a Canadian university rather than trying to go to the States and getting an athletic scholarship at an American university. And the reason is that there just aren't that many schools in Canada, so the quality of the education that you're going to get if you decide to stay in Canada is guaranteed to be high. On the contrary, in the States, there are hundreds of schools, lots of good ones with very reputable academic programs, but others that are not ranked as high academically, and so the level of education that you would get if you went there wouldn't necessarily be as high. So taking all that into consideration, if you know that you're going to have to fall back on your education in order to have a career and to have a successful career, and you know that by attending a Canadian university you're guaranteed to get a good education, then I think it would make you more likely to want to attend a school in Canada. Um, a good friend and colleague of mine who we're actually running a summer camp with this year, it's the second edition of the camp. Her name is Vanessa Martinez, and she's the head coach of the University of Manitoba Bison women's soccer team. She's also a top female coach in North America. She has a UEFA Pro license from Germany. She played professionally in the German Bundesliga and also played for the Mexican women's national team. And previous to that, she also attended the University of Texas at Austin on a full ride scholarship. So she has that perspective as well of being involved, at the top level in women's university soccer in the States, and also as a coach in women's university soccer here in Canada. And I like to quote or repeat what she's said to me many times and what she advises a lot of the young players that she talks to, and that is that if you're going to make a decision to try to pursue an athletic scholarship in the States, you should look for two conditions to be met. And if those conditions are met, then that's the only way that you would actually make that decision. And the first condition is that the program of study that you're deciding to take at the particular school, that school should be ranked somewhere in the top 30 or top 25 for that program of study in the country. And again, this is because there are hundreds of schools, so you want to make sure that that academic program of study that you're enrolling in has a top 30 or a top 25 ranking. So that's the first condition. And the second condition is that the scholarship that you're being offered is a full ride. Now, this has to do with the cost of tuition for attending a school in the United States as opposed to the cost of tuition for attending a Canadian school. And there's a range of prices, but in general, and this is again in US dollars because it's a US school, in general, the US schools tuition fees per year would be somewhere between $20,000 up to $40,000 per year. So if you think about it, if you are offered a scholarship, but it's not a full ride scholarship, maybe it's a 70% or 75 or 80%, then the dollar amount per year that you'd be required to pay for your tuition could be equal to, if not even more, than what you would pay as full tuition in a Canadian school, and keeping in mind too that the Canadian tuition is in Canadian dollars. As an example, a lot of undergraduate programs in Canada, the tuition per year is only about $8,000, $9,000, or $10,000 Canadian per year. So if you do the math, you'll see that it's very likely that if you don't get a full ride scholarship to the United States, that you may end up paying more. And as mentioned earlier, there's a chance that you might not only pay more, but you might pay more even for a lower quality education. And again, those decisions that people make, and I know people who have made them, to attend a school on a scholarship where they know they're not getting a good quality education, they're making those decisions because the level of soccer, in terms of the ability of the players, the coaching, the overall level and competitiveness of the program is higher in the States than it is in Canada. But keeping in mind what we said initially, which is that your number one priority has to be your education because you're not going to get paid to play soccer, it shouldn't really matter at what competitive level you're playing in university. It's great to be at a higher level and to challenge yourself and push yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't think you should sacrifice your education, which is going to be setting you up for your career for the rest of your life, just to play at that higher level. So that does it for the Soccer Fitness Goals video blog for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We'll see you again next week, and until then, keep reaching your soccer fitness goals.